Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LARP Tales podcast. My name is Oliver. I am one half of your hosting duo. With me, as always, is my co-host, Robin. Hello, Robin.
Hello, Oliver.
And today we are continuing our recap of Empire LARP E1, the Winter Solstice 2024. We're going to be covering Saturday. I think probably just Saturday, because I think we're going to have to, do Sunday and the tail end of Saturday for our third episode, because a lot happened on Saturday. It was a good one. Before we get into that, though, let's do our housekeeping quickly. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new here to the To Have and To Roll channel. If you're listening on an audio platform, give us a 5-star review. We also have a Patreon if you want to go check that out. It is just a tip jar to help us keep the lights on over here to support us. You are under no obligation to do so, of course. And with that all out of the way, let's get into our recap of Empire LARP E1. Okay, here we go. Empire LARP E1. This is our second part of our recap of this event. This is the Winter Solstice, year 385. Is YE Year of the Empire? What does it even stand for?
I just thought it was short for year.
Year? Oh, is YE short for year?
I don't know. I just assumed it's the 385 year.
385 year? That doesn't make any sense, Robin.
It made perfect sense to me.
Okay. Well, if you know, put it down in the comments. I don't know why. I just suddenly realized I don't actually know what that means. I just assumed it was Year of the Empire. Anyway, last we left off, we were talking about what we got up to on the Thursday and Friday. On the Friday, the entire house was kind of running around, trying to get things kind of organized, sorted. I was helping out with kind of military stuff. You were organizing other stuff, which I don't know whether you want to you didn't divulge what you were even doing.
I didn't realize until you said sorry. You're like, oh, you didn't tell anyone. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. So yeah, I was running around trying to sort out Night Protector stuff because I was running for Night Protector of Winter. So I'd run into lots of houses over the Long Dark, like houses I knew and had connections with. But there was so many new houses, and there's so many people that with Nymeria I've not made a connection with. So all those people, I was like, well, I'm not just gonna send them a letter because he won't know who I am. Instead, I will section out that Friday to go and chat to them all. So I did lots of that on the Friday night, trying to talk about why I'd be a good Night Protector and listening to their worries about it. So that was fun. Lots of politics.
Yeah. Should we cover that when we talk about the actual tournament itself? Because I guess we've got a lot to say about the tournament. Oh, I apologize as well if there's planes going overhead, because for some reason, where every time we go to record right now, every plane likes to fly overhead. Like, we're not in the most ideal of recording situations because we've got lots of animals around us. Also, the last episode that I uploaded, for a brief 10 minutes before I caught it, I ended up uploading the wrong file, and so a couple of our listeners probably heard me getting annoyed that the horse that lives right next to where we're staying now, it's my parents' horse, but he likes to, for whatever reason, he was driving me mad. He was literally banging on the walls while we were trying to record, and I'm like, what? Just like, why?
This horse that doesn't make a sound most of the time, and then we're recording, and he's just like, bang.
Yeah. So yeah, I apologize to anyone that heard me swearing at the horse, but he was winding me up quite a bit. Do we want to talk about we'll do the battle, shall we? Because the battle will take up the majority of this episode, and then the second half we'll talk about tournaments as well, because that'll take up a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Do you want to prime us for the battle, or do you want me to go right into it?
Yeah, no. So the battle, we spent the morning sort of all doing various different things, because this battle was this was a first for us. This battle we knew was going to involve monsters, And we also knew that we were going to have something that's brand new to me anyway. We were going to have to like bribe and pay off certain enemies. We were fighting the Grendel. I know we mentioned it last episode, but we were fighting the Grendel, and we had to bribe them and make all these different deals and things. So this was a battle that had so many different things happening at once. So the morning was spent figuring out which groups were going where, who was bribing whom, and getting all that sort of together. So Oliver, what did Damon end up having to do? Because Damon had like a freaking cool thing to do here.
Yeah, well, so we were because like last event, we were helping like we were helping Arcavian with the leading of Dawn. Arcavian was the field marshal though this time, so we were still in kind of helping his unit out and being a part of his unit. My job ended up being carrying the payload, which was like 70 thrones. It was a lot
So you know
of
what's
money.
really funny, Oliver, is the sheer volume of people who came up to you to be like, "You still got it?
I know, yeah.
Where are you holding it? Where are you carrying it?"
Well, so yeah, I decided to just carry it in my hand. So basically, there was no, because I hadn't really been planning on doing any kind of frontline fighting. I don't really want to do that anymore. I did that so much with Godric. I will step into a line, and I well, I'll let you know what happens. But like I'm perfectly willing to do that. But I'm perfectly happy doing this type of job because I know that battlefield now. That's the thing. Coming into our 9th event now, you get it's a bit of a leg up knowing the lay of that land as well, and knowing the battlefield, knowing
knowing the shortcuts like between the woods from one end of the field to the other, like those little paths and everything.
yeah,
like
and the
it does
dangerous
kind
spots
of...
as well, like knowing,
Oh,
if
yeah.
I better not get caught here, basically. But anyway, so I was given the the payload. There was two payloads. There was the other person that had the other payload, because there was two people to get paid off. So I was going to be paying the Drake Master off. I wasn't doing the negotiating though. They had someone else to do the negotiating for us. I'm sure Dave wouldn't mind saying it's Mercy, since he's been a podcast guest. So Mercy was going to be the negotiator, and I just had the money. But it was funny because yeah, had the money on me, and then so many people would just like, I mean, a couple of people said, "Oh yeah, like that that pouch is worth more than you," and a lot of people were just like, because I mean, I was telling people, I was like, look, basically, if you see me, I wasn't telling absolutely everybody, but I was telling people that were like, by the way, if you see me, and I am swinging my sword, something that's gone badly wrong, like I should not be fighting while I have this on me. So like, if you see me swinging a sword, come to me, because that is one of the main objectives that we need to complete, really. And then I was telling a few people, look, if I go down, and there's no saving me, don't like go, oh no, we need to get him back. I was like, just like, this is where the money is. Take the money. But also, a lot of people were too enthusiastic to be like, where's the money? Oh, I'll just take the money. If you go down, I'll take the money off you. I'm like, yeah, but like, if you can get me up, if you have a stay with me, I would appreciate a stay with me. Or if you have a potion or something, then I prefer it if you got me up. Just take the money and then just run off. If you can save me, it's fine. But if it looks like I'm a goner, and you get to me and we've got no resources between us, take the money. And I was telling people where the money was. But it was really cool seeing the it's taking on that role this time, because we had. So this is something we were working on, I hadn't said on the podcast, but it's kind of all over now. House Mortaire had a mercenary banner. Right? How
this was
freaking cool was this?
amazing.
Yeah.
So obviously we would definitely hinted towards it quite a bit, and of course we had the Crimson Reapers, all 27 of them. It was
it was 24. I think it was 24. It was 24 or 27.
It's running with that sort.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, there was a lot of them there. Yeah.
And they all came over in the morning. The power move. They all came and lined up outside House Mortaire.
Yeah, I mean, it was
silently
really cool.
lined up.
I wish I wasn't in such a rush so I could actually enjoy it, because I was going backwards and forwards to the gate, I thing is, I had to go to the gate to get the debrief because I had a lot of money on me, so making sure that I knew what the plan was. So I went from military council to the gate. I had told the Crimson Reapers. They said, right, where do you want us? So the way mercenary banners, people who don't know, the way the banner works is that like you can individually hire a mercenary banner, but the banner so they get through the gate because it's all about like your egregor's magic, I think,
Mm.
right? So for you to go through, you can only go through the gate with your certain nation, right? So your egregore has to be like, because they always know where you are. So it stops everybody like splitting up and trying to get in through the gate. So it keeps you tied to your nation. So you can only go through the gate with your nation. If you're a
Yeah.
mercenary banner, then your banner has to then like swear to a general. So and then that if so the general of the army of the nation that you are mercenary working for, uh, you have to swear to them. But they were technically working for us, but they had to swear to a general of Dawn. And the day before, they were like, "Oh, where do you want us in the morning?" And I was like, "In the Dawn camp." At this time, they're like, "It's nice to work with people role playing like professionals," because they were like,
Oh
"What time?" And I was like, "This time." They're like, "We will be there," you
oh,
know.
they were.
So I was at the top of the gate, and I'm like, right now I need to like. I know the Reapers are waiting for orders, so I'm like, I have to run all the way back to Dawn now.
Yeah, because like I was there when they were there and they were like, okay, a couple of things we need to sort out and everything. It's like,
Mm,
yeah, and they were like, it's like kind of nothing at this
yeah.
point. And they were like, we need to know which general we are like swearing to. And I was
Mm,
like, Arcavian. So
yeah.
I gave them Arcavian. I was like, and they went, yep, okay, we will. The Arcavian's the one that
Mm,
we've got like noted down and everything. I was like,
mm,
perfect.
yeah.
Because I was like, shit. Can it be Arcavian because he's field marshal? And I was like, well,
Mm,
actually, technically, he's still a general of Dawn, so it still should work. And I was like,
yeah.
yeah, Arcavian, because if we can't give you something to do, he'll give you stuff to
Yeah,
do.
yeah. So, and the Crimson Reapers are in character buddies. There's a few of them that are out of character buddies of ours. We have a good relationship with the group, and they're like we said this before. They're a little bit like the Liege version of House Mortaire anyway. So but it was cool because as I was running around, I was like, right, because I ran up to the Glory Square and I was like, oh, they must be at the camp. And as I ran around the camp, just seeing in front of our camp them all like just perfectly in a line, just looking absolutely badass. So I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is so cool.
They were amazing.
But I was
I felt
exhausted because I was
really
running around. I was
like I felt the same. I felt so bad
mm,
because I was like having to run and like pick stuff up. I had to like head
mm,
over to the marchers in the morning. I was like trying to get things sorted out,
mm.
and then I ended up like constantly running past and being like, "You were amazing. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna come back and speak to you." And I was like running back again.
Yeah, we are such busy bees on those battle days. But yeah, so we had our mercenary banner with us, which was really really cool. Going from like a couple like two or three fighters in Mortaire to having like 30 of us was quite was pretty cool.
There's the jokes about the force waiting,
Yeah,
like House Mortar's force waiting, and now the new force waiting for the battle, which is
yeah,
like,
yeah. No, yeah, it was
oh,
quite cool to be like, oh yeah, well we got four fighting, no five. Well, we actually had five fighting from Mortaire. We had five fighting from Mortaire
yeah.
plus 27 or something, which is quite fun to say. But like, regardless, I didn't want to treat them like they were working for us obviously, but I was like, do what you got to do. Like I don't like when you get out there, just fight gloriously. Basically, just do what you want to do. Wherever you feel like you're the most effective, then go do that type thing. I just said basically if I call for you that I need a bodyguard, which is ideal that we had the Reapers. I didn't need them in the end, but like I was like, if I need a bodyguard for getting this money somewhere, then I
Yeah.
will send for you. So it was good to know that I had like
And
some.
they echoed that as well. They
Mm,
were very aware that they will
mm,
probably be sending a Reaper with you
yeah,
at some point.
mm,
And that was something like, um, obviously we'll speak about it when we get onto the actual field stuff, but honestly, like they were always there just when you needed them.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yeah, I love them so much.
mm,
So the battle was going to be Imperial Orcs, then us, then I'm saying us. I didn't, I did went through with Dawn, but I wasn't with Dawn. Um, then it was who else was after that? Was it the marches after that?
Yes, the marchers followed behind
Hmm.
Dawn to cover
So
our backs. This is where my mind was foggy because I don't remember who was in cover in the back of the marchers. I know the march was behind us. Was it Urizen next and then
High Guard and
Vanguard? Oh
Arisen,
yeah.
yeah, and
Okay.
that was it. I think that was all everyone who's on the field. Um,
League were there as well,
oh,
weren't they?
was it the league there? Yeah,
Did we have the league?
I have no idea. Well, the thing is, the league so every now and again, like the league, the national block is like smaller than all the mercenaries. So I think most of the
Yeah.
mercenaries were on that battlefield. So sometimes it's difficult to even remember whether the league is there or not. Um, anyway, we entered the field, and it's been a while since I've entered the field to that much kind of like forward hostility, because they were like, I mean, I've had them when they've been really close, but not since my first ever event have I
Yeah.
hit that gate and they are on literally on top of us, you know. And the Imperial Orcs went first, so like as we went through jumped through the gate before them, like we then go into the back of the Imperial Orcs basically. We're just like, go push.
Yeah, it was that sort of thing where like, no, we all want to stand here and fight. We need to push them enough so that we can get all the other nations couldn't get in. They were that close. It was like we just had to push them up the field and get them split up and up to the back so that we could get everyone else in. Imperial Orcs are badasses though. Like we come in and like all the Grendel force is on top of them, and the Imperial Orcs are just like, this is easy. It's cutting them all down.
I say what's a little bit easier as well, even though. So the Imperial Orcs versus the Grendel are a little bit easier to tell apart from the Imperial Orcs. Although we did have a few Apulian Orcs on the Imperial side,
Yep.
which obviously look very much like Grendel. One the other the person who had the other payload was an Apulian Orc, so we were all like, okay, but make sure you remember this Orc's face, because do not mistake this one for a Grendel, you know?
Yeah, the easiest way that I find to tell the Apulian Orcs apart from the Grendel is that the Apulian Orcs tend to have a more leaguish fashion.
Hmm.
They tend to incorporate a lot more of the feathers and a lot more of that leaguish look, those sort of big puffy sleeves and things like that. Although the Grendel themselves are super fancy, that is the main obvious difference that I can see between them, is that they obviously have that, because I only know two Apulian Orcs by face. The others, I don't know.
Yeah, because they're taking on a league style, but no, the orc that was with us getting the payload very much looked like you were mistaken for a Grendel. Anyway, so I mean, we kind of moved up the field in pretty slow order. I mean, it's getting that way anyway. It's like same old with this, because we're running out of space on that site, ready for the pure amount of people we have. It just because if basically we get any resistance on that field, then it just becomes just a line fight that just like moves slowly upward. We kind of like ended up kind of with our backs against the woods, because it was obvious they did not want to be in the woods, which was good, because
Yeah,
usually when we're fighting Druze, the Druze love to be in those woods. So that was a
there
good,
was
nice change, I guess.
there was quite a few Grendel in the woods at the start, but they came out in like drifts and drabs. It wasn't like you said, like the Druze will just like in full force come out the woods. They kind of like, it was like, 10 or 20 here and there were like coming out, and then they were getting cut down really quickly.
Hmm.
Um, but there wasn't any reason to go into the woods. So it was quite nice. Like you said, like the brunt of it was on the field, and then we very quickly realized why we needed all that space on the field, because
Mm,
they brought some pretty cool things with them.
yeah. What did anything happen between me leaving you, and there was nothing big that happened there, was there?
Not particularly. There was a lot going on. I would like to say something actually, like this is more of an out of character thing, and this was something that I said this is a good thing. This is like a big improvement I saw this time. Um, doing different things in the military game and everything, and last event as Nymeria trying to like echo orders from the generals and things like that, trying to I had a lot of people just like point blank ignoring or not even registering and just doing their own thing. I didn't really experience that as much this time. This time was very much like you'd go up to one of the generals of the other nations and say, yeah, this is what we should do now, and they would listen and be like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And it was really good actually. I quite liked that experience because I did have a few things to echo over from Arcavian, and I will admit that character, I had a little thing in the back of my head of last time they just ignored me. Am I gonna have that again? And then I was like, oh no, this is actually really nice. Like this was a bit more like, yeah, like I felt like we were an empire working together and getting things done, which was really cool.
Communication is tough though as well on that battlefield. Like it's something that is like, again, I said last episode that I'm currently kind of working to try and improve it in our nation, but it's tough, and you see it from like our point of view when you're doing that different job now, like when you're being the echoer of orders basically, and moving orders down. So one of the big complaints that I usually get in this role is I'm hearing two different things. So things happen very quickly. Like things can happen extremely quickly. So what can sometimes happen is if those of us like standing back and then relaying orders and trying to get hold of runners, I can literally be stood with the field marshal, and the field marshal will send a runner all the way down to the other end of the field because we can see what's going on the other end of the field, and they go saying, "Oh, runner, tell them to start pulling back." And as the runner's taken 10 steps, they're already too far away to go, oh, come, wait, because it's too loud. And then something suddenly has just happened. Like we can see in the distance, we can see another load of reinforcements heading towards a gap. And then the field marshal turns to me and says, crap, go tell them to hold, right? So me and the runner get there around about the same-ish time. So the runner can be like, okay, you're being told to move back. And then I'll come down saying, field marshal wants you to hold. You're not hearing two different both things you're hearing are correct. So
I did the exact same thing to like one of their groups, because we're like, no, we were all pulling back. Something happened. We're like, let's just hold. I think, that's right. One side was moving back just way too fast, and they had to hold because the other side were getting just like slaughtered. So we like did that whole like, okay, so no, we hold, and they went, we're holding it. Okay, yeah, let's hold. They all held. I was like, perfect. Went back, and within those few seconds, we're like, oh no, we're great. Let's pull back. So I was like literally went right up to the same person, like, we're pulling back now. It was like, but I think that's the thing. That it's just a split second, but
and you are playing heroes of the empire as well. Like if you are the reason for the game system, like so where the heroes going to amble, like the main campaign is all like the foot soldiers. People are more likely to be just taking orders and being told, oh, you need to go to your death, and they'll just do it. However, on that field, like we're the heroes of the empire, so it's not really about following orders. Like if you think that there's a better call to be made, then make it. But ultimately, you've just got to weigh up. Okay, well, do I actually know what's going on? How much information do I have? Because you especially going from like a frontline fighter to someone who's now like taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture. What you see as the frontline fighter is you've got a limited amount of data coming at you, and it is intense data. You're seeing, there's loads of them coming, but then when you take a step back, you're like, no, it's like, even okay, there's loads of them coming, but if they break through, especially on that bridge, like a bridge, you just go, oh my god, like if they break through, I'm like, to what? Like I know they look scary when they're coming over that bridge, and there looks like there's waves of them, but if they break through, they're just going to break through to death. Like there's like 1,000 Imperials on the other side of your line. If they come through, they're just going to die instantly and get you back up. So
like that's one thing I noticed this time as well. Like you said, like before, as soon as you go into that front line, you're just like, you do feel a bit like overwhelmed, and even when you look behind you, you can't see a lot of people behind you, and it can be quite daunting. Like standing back there, I was like, wow, yeah, that line does look a bit thin, but I can see 2 Marcher build blocks standing there ready. Like they're just gonna run to their death if they hit that block. That will be them. But yeah, sorry. So while you were off and we didn't quite know where you were at this point, I ran into Mercy, and he was like, all right, where's Damon? I was like, I don't know, I thought he was with you to go and do like Drake stuff. And we're like, no one knows where Damon is. He has the money. We know where the Drakes is kind of happening, and he doesn't have his negotiator. So we're like, let's just go together. We had a rumor it was in the woods. Let's go to the woods. We just went to the wrong entrance to the wood because there's several bits, and we went to the lower down bit because we thought, oh, we can see, and there's not much there. We went into the lower down bit of the woods, and what we saw was a transaction taking place. We saw someone with white hair on the ground, kneeling down, and this sort of transaction taking place. And it was so far away, we're like, don't think it's him. And I was having these conversations like, I don't think he'd kneel. I'm pretty sure that's not him. No, that's a different one. They're done. They're coming this way. They're not on our side. And it kind of changed quite quickly, where there was only like 3 or 4 of us there in the woods, and there was a decent chunk of Grendel just coming straight for us. I was like, like, we're far away from everyone at this point. We're like, okay, do we just slowly back off, and what do we do? And then I just saw this little glimmer of red and black to the corner of my eyes as the Crimson Reapers came in. I was like, yep, they've got them. And it was like that scene it was like Lord of the Rings in that final battle, where in the background you just see this army of the dead come up and just flatten everything. That's what the Reapers reminded me of in that moment. The way they just came in and they didn't even stop. They just flushed through them all. And then they were gone. I was just like, okay, okay, let's jog up to the other entrance. Yeah. The wood's probably there, and that's when we ran into you.
Yeah, I mean, it just showed what a well armed and well organized unit of 20 to 30 fighters can really do. How effective they are on that battlefield. Yeah, it's thing is you're never going to get Dawn like that. You're definitely going to get them well equipped. I think you can probably get them well equipped. Because there are some very effective units in Dawn, or I mean, there's been times where I've seen units very effective, and it very much depends on the circumstance, So
yeah.
Anyway, so rewind a bit. I am doing the stuff with you, and yeah, I get told, oh, we found the Drake Master, right? So, and it's this runner from I'd assume they were High Guard. They're like, oh yeah, High Guard's found it. I was just told go with them. I was like, okay. I was like, should I probably ask other people to go with me? I'm like, hey, no, I don't. Apparently it's somewhere in the woods, so I was like, this is actually going to be more fun if I don't tell everyone where I'm going. The field marshal knew exactly where I was, so I went, okay, cool. Let's go see High Guard then, and we went through the woods. It was a bit of a walk because it was over basically by that bridge, the breach that we always talk about. That's where it was.
Yeah.
It was quite funny because then I got to High Guard, and I mean, I didn't quite appreciate the amount of people that were saying, "Oh, he's got the money. He's got the money." I'm like, could you not? could you not like shout that?
Tell them that.
Yeah, could we not
Let's
shout
pretend
that?
Each person here has one throne, and they're all split up between us.
Yeah, I mean that would be very clever, but imagine trying to get players to organize that. So they were like, right, okay, well, he's over there, and I'm like, I have the money. I'm not the negotiator. And they're like, oh, was there supposed to be a negotiator? And I'm like, I thought there was supposed to be a negotiator in every nation block. And they're like, oh, well, we didn't know. I'm like, I kind of shrug, just being Damon.
Which one of you is good at talking?
Yeah. What? And then they said to me, they were like, oh, well, would you be up for doing it? And I'm like, well, yeah, I can pay the money, but you might not like the outcome, because if he, if I go to give him the money and he tells me to piss off, then I'm probably gonna tell him to, go himself, basically. And I don't know how that's gonna go down with military council or Senate, So they're like, right, okay, let's send runners off to go get it. And obviously, they sent the runner off, and they went, right, we need to either find, because I was like, well, I think there's a negotiator over with the field marshal block. So I think they sent a couple of runners out, but it was a while before like you and Mercy and all that turned up to do the job, because we already had someone kind of speaking to the speak to the
So
Grendel.
Urzani, wasn't it? The Urzani
Mm.
Marrow?
Yeah, so because they were currently they were being held off at the bridge, right? So at the other side of the bridge, there was like a unit of Grendel, and they had two drakes with them, and they were like they looked really cool. They were basically velociraptors, right? But there was two like mini skinny drakes with them, so they weren't doing any kind of I think there was a little bit of a scuffle at the bridge, but they weren't properly, because they knew that was the target or the objective. So there was a lot of kind of shouting, but you couldn't just walk up to them. Like they were heavily armed. They looked like they were going to kill you. You couldn't walk across the bridge, so there had to be a little bit of shouting, being like, "Hey, look, can we talk?" Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
By the time the negotiation like started, and then there was another couple of people that came over and went, "All right." All of a sudden, then we had three people saying, "Oh yeah, I'll come and do the negotiation. I'm the person that's supposed to be doing this." But by the time that happened, like Mercy was already kind of speaking to them, and then like my unit and the Reapers had kind of caught up. I say my unit, the other unit I was with had caught up. You guys had caught up, and then we were negotiating with the Grendel. I don't know. I'm assuming I don't think he was a Salt Lord. I don't really know in detail the hierarchy. I don't know how common Salt Lords are. I don't know, but it was someone in charge of a group of Grendel anyway, and he was in charge of all the Drakes. So
Yeah, and then when you had your conversation with him about the drakes and things, he did talk about, he compared the cost of them to the cost of a fleet or of a ship or something, didn't he?
oh
So
no, yeah, no, I
maybe
think they were. I think someone had asked. Might be Mercy, like how much for the Drake eggs, because he had Drake eggs to sell, and I don't think there was an actual number thrown out, but I feel like it was like two fleets and a mansion or something, something crazy like that. Nothing that anybody could probably afford, right there, there and
not
then.
anyone that was on the field at that point.
Yeah, yeah,
I always
with the
wanted to
cash
be
on
like,
them.
can we keep in touch?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like one of those. Like, I just write it to Mortar Manor.
Yeah.
There we go. That's the one. We'll find it.
I mean, how good? Yeah, how good would it be to ride into battle on a Drake? That would be
I
so
want
cool.
a Drake.
Yeah.
Oh, our little drakes are not going to battle. They're going to be in the camp and they're just going to be
No,
chilling.
I'm going to ride the Drake in the battle.
You are not riding the Drake in the battle.
The best thing ever.
The baby Drake.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere.
It's quite funny because, like, I mean, it's quite intimidating because obviously because they were they're over the bridge, so like it wasn't as if we could have loads. Like if a fight broke out, yeah, me and Mercy and the few people that were kind of near us probably would have just died. Like if they probably, because I wouldn't have. It sounds terrible, but I wouldn't have trusted the entire Empire to push through into that breach just to save us all. I don't know. They might have surprised us. I don't know.
They might have.
They might have. But yeah, I think if they just stab cleaved us and then we were on the ground, I can't see it going very well for us.
There was a reason to there, like, because everybody was like, I was just sort of like slightly like behind you and everything, and like they had like one Grendel whose like eyes were like locked onto me, and we were just like standing like staring at each other from the majority of the time, just like this is awkward, but I don't know which one of us is going to break the stair.
Yeah.
So I
was just kidding. The thing is, I don't know if things went bad, then I'm probably going to get hit a low. But I was just going to like attack the one that was talking to Mercy. That was going to be my plan. But anyway, I was like, it's all good. It's all going to be fine. They were, they were talking amongst themselves, and I was like stood next to this other one. And I was just like, so what'd you feed him? He's like, well, I don't really know. I'm not the actual keeper, but I'm like, well, is it live meat or can you feed them carrion? And they're like, oh no, it's usually live meat. I'm like, all right, okay. How often do they need to be fed? I just had a husbandry talk with the about keeping drakes.
I love that. That's like so Damon and just like so perfect.
yeah. And then the deal was done, and then we pulled out, and that was it. You know what was quite fun as well? The fact that some people still thought I maybe had the payload after that, but I did say, I was like, no, it's done, because everyone's going, oh, are you okay? And I'm like, no, it's okay, it's done. That means I can actually go fight now, if I need to. And then I just ended up kind of like holding that line, because where those Grendel were, so they buggered off, and then a whole heap of Grendel came then, and I think shortly after that the only objectives were to go kill the crabs. So if you didn't know, we had to go kill a load of giant crabs. It was really fun fighting monsters on the battlefield for the first time, you know, because like the Druj
Oh
and
my
the
god.
Jotun don't have monsters on the battlefield,
Hmm.
so that was a
They
new
were quite.
experience.
I didn't expect them to move so fast, and it was funny because you could hear people that clearly knew what they were talking about, and they were shouting things like, "Nope, let them come, we'll get around the back of them." But there was no use. Everybody just went, "Yeah, big monster," and
Yeah,
everyone just like jumped on every single one
yeah.
of them. They were terrifying.
Yeah, so to paint a picture for people, they were like, yeah, they're obviously big crabby things with like big claws, but they're obviously low to the ground because they because they kind of scuttle, but they obviously then like OC they have to be like pushed by people, right? So they're on wheels. So but basically they go straight through a line, right? Because their claws shatter as well. So
I didn't realize they had. I literally thought it was somebody like running. I didn't realize they were on something getting pushed.
yeah, well, the Grendel were literally pushing it towards the
Oh,
line. Yeah,
I didn't even see that. Yeah.
yeah. So the operator was like basically behind it, pushing it. But then obviously they can't turn them because they're made to be like they're meant to ram into people. Uh, so I mean, there's one of the reasons why like Dawn took the Saturday to fight the monsters, because the winter markers are great, but they like to stay in a line. Whereas like these crabs will literally just obliterate a line. Like there's no you can't hold your ground. They'll just go "Brr," and they just go straight through you. And then if they're in behind you and they do that several times, which they did, it was really cool to see new tactics as well because I think it threw some new players and some people that have been playing a little while against the Druj and the Jotun because Dawn had got very used to fighting the Druj. The Druj tactics are that we've gone over the Druj tactics 100 times. We always fight them. Is they will do like a false charge. They try and like draw you out. Basically, they do a false charge, and then if you run at the Druj with enough force, they will just run away. The Jotun will basically like stay in their line, stay in their blocks, and they will just fight. They will fight you toe to toe. You know, if you just walk up to them, it's just that type of fight. The Grendel, so the Dawn would charge. I saw Dawn charge at the Grendel doing glory charges, and the shock on Dawn's face when the Grendel just charged them straight back. Not only did they charge them straight back, they charged them with pole arms, kept going when they hit the charge and went, okay, let's see who breaks first. You know, it's like a game of chicken. And usually, as Dawn was like running sporadically towards them, they realized that the Grendel were all in step with their charges, and they had their polearms. They were striking down, and then on top of that, they were doing volleys of arrows over the top of their charges and nailing our healers and our mages on the other side. So there was quite a few like, oh, oh, this isn't the Druge type thing. Um,
Yeah, like I'm never been worried about arrows before
mm,
because always in heavy armor. And I'll always be like making sure like if it's a specific you normally were looking for a specific archer, like, oh, watch the archer there, is gonna get you, you're not armored. This time I did a lot of like really being quite vigilant on where was the line of arrows hitting? Where was it hitting each time? And I remember like nudging a few healers and stuff and being like, move back, move that whole unit back there because you're in the firing line now.
yeah,
And we did have like a moment where our little sort of mini hospital setup was just about to get completely covered in arrows, and I was just like, okay.
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember like going out to and being like, right, I think we move this whole thing down the other side of the bloody field because
yeah,
they're still coming and they're going to start getting us. There's
yeah,
enough of us around now to lift people and move them. Let's
yeah,
just move you all
yeah.
and then cut them down. And
Yeah,
it was like, oh,
I mean, the monster, the players doing the monstering and skirmish crew were doing a good job on
mm,
that one line fight we had with the when they were coming out the breach. Because what they were doing, we were holding them. We were being told just to hold them because we like cleared up quite a few objectives. You know, we were hanging around for a little bit as well. You know, we were trying to kill as many crabs as we could. So it's just
yeah.
about we weren't like pushing. There was that was where a little bit of confusion with the communication was coming from. We were pushing and then we weren't pushing and then we were anyway. We didn't really need to
It was
push.
there's a lot of things. Yeah, there was a moment where we're like, yeah, all these deals were happening simultaneously. If we had pushed too much, we would have split everybody apart and we would have been in a bit of trouble. We kind of just had to hold them there while these deals were taking place. We had to keep them away from our injured, and we had certain people protecting them. And we had to just kind of, even though like inside me, every instinct I had was, I can see 60 of them and there's a couple of hundred of us here. I think we could just run them down and flatten it. But a couple of moves ahead, if we had done that, we would have left both sides completely open. It was that sort of thing where I was like, there's so many spinning plates here. Basically, that's the only thing I could compare it to. Yeah. I was like, okay.
Yeah, and what I love. Once I was like, okay, cool. I guess I'll just stand here, because it was literally just turned into a little bit static at a time, and I was like, cool, I can hit some things now, I guess, you know. So on that fight by the breaches, they were trying to push us. They did this real cool, smart thing of breaking our lines. What they would do, that like the crabs obviously low to, so you didn't know where they were, right? The crabs are real low to the ground, so when you looked out into like a Sea of Grendel, you know, no pun intended, right? Like that you didn't know where the monsters were, and then obviously they would just go and then just push it through, and then it obviously would break our line, but they weren't like holding it there. They were then bringing it back into the line, so it would make a bubble in our line, and then they would move it down the line and then go like and blast us, like, so we were all like bubbling out, and so our line was just kind of doing this like mushrooming thing away from them.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, they were being really clever about it. What was really cool is that, you know, when the crab was like, I remember like crab came right towards me. I'm like, okay, cool, Damon, time to hit something. Just like, fuck. I love that. I loved it so much. And then just the Reapers behind me being like, no, just trying to get in front of me, like trying to pull me back.
Because I hadn't paid the Reapers yet. They literally said that you can't. Well, you've not paid us yet.
You've not paid us yet. You can't die.
The house will deal with it. Don't worry.
He did not want us to die.
But also with Arcavian.
Yeah, but also, you know, they were working for me, and I like to think, you know, maybe they like me a little bit as well. But
no, we hadn't paid them.
No, we haven't paid them. But yeah, it was quite funny. Like literally, one of them literally physically moved me out of the way once, as I was just like stood on the line. They're like, "You can't be in the front." It's like fuck. A couple of times, like, Damon, you need to be back here. I'm like, yeah, I know.
There was a point they were doing it to all three of us. They were grabbing you, me, and Arcavian. They were like, get out of the line, get back here. The line is here. You were over there. Get back.
But it was quite a cool.
Yeah,
but there's quite a cool dynamic there. Like it's important for like Dornish knights to see people standing where they need to be seen, especially if you're the field marshal. Sometimes you have to stand in the line as the field marshal, because people's, especially if the line's moving and you don't want it to move, and you're just like, no, the line needs to be here. It puts like a bit of like comfort in people's minds, because they're just like, because they're backing up, and then they see the field marshal is like stood right there, and you're like, well, it can't be that dangerous because the field marshal's there. So
that's something I've seen Zoran do a lot of battles. Actually, he always seems to take a few steps forward. You're just like, oh, let's catch up with the field. It's almost like he's coaxing us over. But like, Arcavian did something really badass this battle, and I remember watching it, and it was when we were trying to break through the sort of little breach point, and we bubbled it perfectly. We did everything perfectly up to that point, but there was an issue there with just getting through, and we were on like a sort of like we're standing there, and Arcavian basically just took his big great sword, walked right in between it, and just was like, shatter, 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 shatter. Okay, go. And it was like, it was a power move, because it made everybody around be like, oh, that's our person. Look at him go. And it kind of empowered everybody around there. It didn't actually empower everyone, but that would be cool. Can we have that in the rules?
Yeah. I mean, tell you what, it would be, I feel like they should make a like empower like a heroic skill. I think there's a magic item where you can do that, maybe, but it'd be quite cool.
That would be cool, like that sort of, you know.
If you had an effect on you that meant if you could spend a hero point to empower someone or something, you know.
But
That'd be
like
cool.
it's that sort of thing of like that Lord of the Rings moment again with, you know, Aragorn turning around to everybody and it's for Frodo and running out and how that just gets everybody going. I'm like, that feels like an Empower PD. Can we have that? Can we have like, you know, someone's leading us and they do something badass and we all just feel like we can take on the world? Could we all be empowered just a little bit?
Might be a little bit overpowered.
Just a little bit,
But
please.
I get you. I get you. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, is there anything else to say about that battle apart from the fact
The
that it?
rest of it was fun.
Yeah,
The
the rest
rest
of it
of
was
it,
really fun.
basically,
Yeah.
we had a lot of fun.
Mm.
And a huge shout out again to the Crimson Reapers. And this is not just from me because I've heard this whispered and mentioned and passed around in the field that they were the best Lance and Dawn on that field.
Yeah, they were good. Yeah.
They were badass and amazing. Um, Everyone was so much fun. I got to have some really amazing role play moments with everyone out in that field, and it kind of just gave me that little reminder of like this is my happy space on the field fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, even
It
though
was
they,
amazing. Yeah.
I mean, even those battles are getting more and more kind of a little bit more stressful because we're kind of, you know, like especially, you know, I had important things to do and things like that. But it's just like you got to make sure you're having fun in the moment, and yeah, that was definitely a
I
it was
didn't use any hero points because
I didn't I barely hit anything. I was just glad I got to hit a crab like
I hit a crab
7 times.
and I hit to a Grendel. I think that was it. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, you know,
Yeah, that's where
my mind.
yeah.
I was like, I kind of want to get taste of some Grendel because I need to pay the Reapers still. They'll have money on them, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. This is the thing as well. Like the Grendel, you can you can loot them because they're probably going to have stuff on them. Yeah, I was just glad. I'm not. My fun is kind of looking at the battlefield as a whole now, not so much jumping into the line. But yeah, you want to hit something at least a few times.
Oh yeah, you want that moment of just being able to run and do something like that, and that has made me rethink because my fighting style has completely changed. I'm like, I need to do something different weapon wise because this is not. I'm no longer geared up for being someone who's not in the front line. I will always have my two swords, but like, I'm definitely changing up what I'm doing weapon wise, and I'm changing up for the next event because that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was great. All went smoothly until the very last couple of minutes. So we were at the point now where we had 10 minutes to get everybody off the field, and no one was off the field. And there's a lot of people on that field. So everybody started moving through, and we're like, no, everybody needs to get out. But we had a few Imperials that were down at the other side. And this is when I realized that my Uncle Starash is at the other side, surrounded by Grendel, on the ground, just taking out his herbs and healing someone on the ground. Like, what is happening? Like, he knows what he's doing. I'm sure he's fine, but I'm gonna wait just in case. But I could not, and then I realized that they'd actually allowed him to go and collect someone. So he was literally just there chatting away, healing someone, bringing them back, and I'm like, badass.
Yeah. We got out in the fight. It was a little bit a little bit messy, you know, coming out. It's one of those battles where you were like, this seems very messy, but it was very successful. So, and the way they do the battles now is that there's not like a main objective and then optional objectives. It's like they give you a load of objectives and then they kind of decide. You have to decide as the generals what objectives do we care about, what do we care about less, what would be okay to do if we can do it, but it's no big deal if we don't.
We smashed it. Again, exploring the different dynamic between Nymeria and Damon compared to Arnell and Godric. Arnell and Godric were very much like together all the time, and they left the field together as well. I think you were off the field a while before I was, because I was like waiting for Starash and things like that. I came off the field and I was with the Reapers, and we're like, oh, we're just gonna go and have a chat. Like, and we just kind of went off the other way, ended up seeing Belikov and everything, and then meeting back at the camp later. But then I kind of gave me that moment of, wow, if that was our previous characters, we would have been stressing, not knowing if the other person actually made off the field.
Yeah.
We
that is true. That is true. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that time where I think it probably was like E2, like our first ever year, and there was the whole like you didn't know where I was, and you thought I was dead, and
that was horrible.
Yeah, it was good times. Anyway, new characters.
Yeah.
saying that, you just reminded me. I might see if Jeff's okay with this. I might link this in the chat. Jeffrey, previous podcast guest of Dawn, Troubadour of House Descenders, out of character, wrote us a lovely song. It was an out of character song about LARPing and like our experiences in LARP. It's very sad. He wrote it after listening to our podcast where we talked about our character deaths and our experiences coming out of our first ever LARP characters into our second. It's very heart wrenching. I'll see if he's okay with us linking it.
It's absolutely beautiful. I'd love to share those lyrics to everybody. No, it was absolutely amazing. Because he came over to us in the morning of the Saturday morning. And no, it wasn't Saturday morning, it was Friday morning.
Yeah.
And like sang it for us, and it was just like,
yeah,
honestly. But yeah, we all made it back to Dawn. We were all sorted, and then we were ready to go straight into the next thing. Okay, yeah. So, next, once we kind of got back to camp and everything, luckily for once, we didn't have to recover any hero points. And I was being really careful about this because I knew I was going to need them all for the Night Protector tourney. So there was a lot of things to plan here. I still had people who hadn't 100% said which way they were going. So I spent a lot of time like running around, chatting to people, finding out information to answer certain questions that have been asked of me. Luckily, I bumped into the Archmage of Winter. Like, who better? Like, somebody in House Roselle, you know who you are, asked me a question. I didn't know the answer to it. He was like, yeah, go research that, give me your answer, and then I'll give you mine. And I was like, perfect. I bumped into the Archmage of Winter. I was like, you're the perfect person to ask. And I ended up speaking to the Archmage of Winter, who I'm really looking forward to have some game with them because that's actually my first time meeting them ever. Like IC and OC, I've never met them before. So I was like, amazing. So I'm really looking forward to some game there. But after I did that kind of side of things, we were sorting out something in the house, and I'll tell you all now what we were doing. The Night Protector of Winter is obviously there as or maybe not so obvious for those of you who don't know, is to protect against the Winter Realm, so against any threats that come from the Winter Realm. Now there are certain rituals and calls that are very much tied to winter magic, and one of those is weakness. So weakness, for those of you who do not know, it means you are unable to use any heroic abilities. That means you can't call things like cleave, strike down, so on. Also, you cannot use any magic.
You can't use any abilities.
Yeah,
you can't use anything. You can't go do a ritual. You can't do anything.
You can't do anything. You are weakened and you feel physically weak. A mass call targets a large number of people and it goes out in a cone. So in the house, I had been planning this for a long time. We were going to have a mass weakness in the Glory Square because I was like, that's cool. I want to fight winter with winter, and I want to demonstrate to everybody what I'm going to do. Like, if I get the title, what can I wrangle up and go and face threats with? So that's what we were sorting out, and it was a lot of like running around, getting mana together. Yeah, so we had a new person, not a new person, not like a new player or anything, but we had a new
person to Dawn that
Dawn, sorry. Us, yeah. And it's not fully confirmed whether they're going to be within the house or things like that, but they did join the coven, and that is Hoops, who came into the coven and was amazing. I had so much role play with them all weekend, and they really brought their A game for this sort of thing and everything. So they helped out massively when it came to getting all this together.
It's easy to make friends when you say, I have tons of mana.
Oh my gosh. They were like, I was like freaking out because I was like, right, I need more mana. And I know so many people in Dawn were like, I've got mana. I'm like, yeah, but we should have mana. I need to try and figure this out. And then like Hoops is like, I have this wad of mana. Don't worry about mana. And I'm like, I could hug you right now.
Yeah. I love how we've got this. I don't want to destroy this reputation that we have, but you'll see we have this reputation of being like, we need this. We're so desperate. We're so broke. It's because we're trying to do so many things. Like we're trying to do like, I tell you what. Even if I'd managed to keep that bag of 70 thrones, it probably wouldn't have just covered all the stuff we're trying to do at once. It's not as if we're trying to do one thing. We're trying to like, we've got a mercenary banner. We're trying to buy expensive magic items. We're trying to do mass calls. So, but that's the fun in the game because we want to do the cool stuff in the game. So,
yeah, it was exciting. So I guess fast forward to the tourney.
Yeah, the tourney. Yeah, I mean, do you want me to describe some of the stuff in the tourney? Because I kind of want to ask you a lot about how you felt about the result. Because I kind of want to go through this because it's an odd one, right? But just from the it's odd, but it is odd. It's a one that I think that we were struggling to kind of maneuver around, you know. OC when it came to things like, you know, is this going to cause bleed? You know, how's everyone going to take this? But anyway, like we got to the tournament, so there's a coronation going on at the same time as well. So like the new, so I think they've made this clear. The Vesna is okay with being referred to as the Empress or the Emperor.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, there was a little bit because I know that when she came onto our show, it was Empress, and then some people say, no, now it's Emperor. But I think it's now been confirmed that Empress or Emperor is fine.
Rosa has confirmed this publicly as well to say,
okay,
they would like to use both terms interchangeably.
Yeah.
So both are okay.
Okay, so yeah, so our new throne, our new throne was making the rounds, and it was getting to the point where we were a little bit late for the night. Well, we didn't know where the Egregore was. We were all ready to start, and then we were like,
"Okay, let's not throw the Egregore into it there because the Egregore literally said."
Anyone
can we just make these a 1/2 from now on? Yeah. Because I thought they were 1/2, and everyone seems to think it's 2.
I thought it was, well, it's because the Senate election was at 1/2, and that was what was getting confusing. Senator election. Anyway, so obviously we're sat waiting there, but as we're waiting there, obviously people like go on either side now. Like there's 2 entrances to the Glory Square. We're up by House Orzel. And you have like lots of people on your side, like that. Like when Aranel went for it, you know, there was, you know, it was looking quite equal until a couple of houses stepped in. Then it became more obvious that Aranel was kind of had a good chance of winning. This time, we had like basically, I'm not going to speak for anybody. You know, I don't know what happened. Like, I had conversations with people. You had conversations with people. This is all like, you know, game. This is all role play. I think people like got caught wind of you were going for it and what support you were gaining. It was a landslide. It was a landslide victory. Like it was unbelievable how we had like the majority of the houses of Dawn just like on our side and a couple of people on the other side.
Yeah, like, so I spent a lot of time convincing all these houses to fight for me. And even then, there was certain people on the side. I was like, I don't know. You're still on the fence. I'm going to keep my eye on you and keep my eye on you.
Oh, I wasn't. Damon. I was like OC. I trusted most of the people in there. To be fine. But like I see Damon was keeping a close eye on lots of people. Well,
like I had Kay and he was at my shoulder and he said, what do you want me to do? And I said, forget about the other side. I want you to keep an eye on our side.
Our side, yeah.
So Kay and Damon, their role was to keep an eye on our side, just in case.
Yeah.
So, at the start of this, for those of you again who don't know, when it comes to mass calls, you need to have a ref present, and the ref needs to know who is casting it and what the mass call is as well. So it gave us time at the start, and we managed to get a ref, and I went to speak to the ref. It was probably quite obvious at that moment that I ran up to speak to a ref, to signal over to a person and to have a conversation with them. I think it was obvious I was doing something at that moment. So we're ready to start, and we had our opponents on our side, and we did have a few people on our side, like family members and everything, went, I'm gonna go join the other side.
Yeah.
I'm like, go for it, because we want a bit of a fight here.
Yeah,
I will end you.
There was it was so funny because so many people came up to you and were just willing to be like, hey, like if you don't have any opposition, I'll run against you type thing, you know. But
I'd like to point out that half of Dawn were ready to fight me at that point. Like the amount of it was all family members coming up being like, don't worry, I will fight you. And I was like, don't worry, I've got enough people willing to fight me if that's needed.
Should we talk about the events of it, and then we'll discuss afterward kind of what we thought about it, maybe? Yeah.
So we'll get ready, start now. When it comes to a tournament getting started, the Egregore is the one who starts it. So we had all of us at one side. We positioned ourselves into the top corner between House Rondel and House Roselle. It's just my favorite corner of the Glory Square. Literally, that's my favorite corner. We're going to position.
It's also slightly the high ground. That it's.
It gives me the feeling that it's the high. We took the high ground.
Yeah, because you are on the high ground. Yeah.
So we took the high ground, and mainly I knew that the mass call is a cone effect, so I needed a corner to start off in, so we could get the bet. Because if we started halfway in the middle, we would have missed people, and we wanted to do that. I had Enchantress Morrigan Water cast the ritual, the mass call, and this was quite badass because I was behind her and I had my hand on her back kind of ready, and she was waiting just for my instruction. As soon as the Egregore stepped out of the way, I was like, now. Mark, what you don't know is I also have my knife ready at the back of you, because everything in my head was saying she's going to turn around and face us, and I was ready.
Yeah, it would be a Morrigan move. Yeah,
I was like just ready.
It would have been quite cool. Like, because it literally, I mean, it was. What would you think it actually was? Do you think? I mean, it must have been like 40. It must have been about 40 v5 or something. It was like there was a lot of us. And I was like, this isn't like... It was
so unnecessary to mass weakness.
It was unnecessary to mass weakness, but thing is, we had it was cast, the mana was spent, it's a cool posture move, the fact that Morrigan doesn't come into the, our Enchantress doesn't come into the Glory Square or fight very much, at all, maybe at that point. I don't even know.
No, Morrigan's not been in the Glory Square before, so that was like a big, this is me sort of thing.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh, I guess this is a demonstration of the, like you say, the power of winter magic, and it was just like mass weakness onto like 5 people. One of our
it was zero mercy. I was like, no, we're gonna wipe this out because this is what we're gonna do to winter threats.
Yeah, and before any non-Dornish people say it's not glorious, I disagree, and I'll
winning is glorious.
Yeah, gathering that much support and showing off your power is 100% glorious. So yeah,
my gosh.
Yeah, it was funny because Lucan went over to the other side and was like, oh, I'll do it, and then forgot about the mass weakness. It was so hilarious. It was like, mass weakness. There was like, and the thing is, I think a couple of other people knew it was coming anyway.
They knew it was coming.
They went, mass weakness, and they're just like, oh, they just
They 100% all knew it was coming.
Yeah, apart from Lucan, but they still like try to scatter. And then it was just like, wah, flat, and then they were all down easy.
So we did all that.
People were having like when it was over. I've never been in the Glory Square where everyone's just like, it was almost like being at a bus station. We were just like, just like just having a chat, just like, yeah, well, what do we do now? Because there's a few people just waiting for someone to like turn or something, or change sides, or everyone's just like, no one wanted to yield yet because there was so many of us in the Glory Square still stood. You know, so no one was like, it was a bit of a, right, well, we need to yield to Nymeria now. So,
It's okay. Enter Arjan, who Arjan was a hard sell. I'm gonna say that.
shout out.
The role play getting Griffin Song to fight for us, or specifically Arjan himself to come and fight, started at the History and Virtue player event. And I had to try hard. And he gave me a question that I had to then answer this event. The answer I gave him is more what he was expecting. So he then reworded the question. This was intense role play. This was hard. And he did eventually agree. But he did give me a promise that he would make sure that I had a decent fight in there. So came to the fight, and obviously we're at that point, and then Arjan is the one that turns around to me, challenges me to single combat with him. So I'm obviously going to accept. Yeah, he went for it. Like, there was part of me being like, okay, are we going to do something a bit more theatrical here? No, you're full on trying to kill me. Okay. There was a lot there. We went for it. That was a challenging fight. I think on both sides, but yeah, he went down.
Yeah, I mean, I was ready to just cleave him in the back. It looked like he was about to beat you. So.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I was getting towards the end. He got one really good hit on me, and I was like, that was like a hit, because he kind of like just got me like in between armor, like really hard. And I was just like, oh yeah, I need to really role play this then, because that was a good hit. And then he went down, and Enchantress Morrigan turns to me and says, do you feel like you've been challenged? And Nymeria is too proud to kind of admit how much of a challenge that was.
Pride is a virtue,
yeah. she played it cool. So Morrigan then challenged me. I was low on hits at this point, so I like quickly grabbed the potion out of my boot. I like tried to like drink it in the square as she ran at me. And then taking her down was interesting because she was down. Like, she couldn't do it. She was down the ground. And I was standing there. And she was like, no, you have to do it. And it was that sort of like role play moment in the middle of this journey to feel like, I'm gonna have to cut you down. And all you hear is Dame in the background. Do it.
Do it. Finish it. Yeah.
But I did. Then everyone kneeled. Everyone dropped down at that point. And yeah. Okay, the Knight Protector of Winter.
Yeah, so you're now the Knight Protector of Winter. It was good because obviously it wasn't much of a show. There was lots of people there to watch. Especially at Winter, the tournaments don't usually, the Knight Protector of Winter doesn't usually get as much attention, but yeah, there was a lot of people came to watch. I think it's the fact that we were putting on a big show as well, which helped. I mean, a fight is fun, but the fact that obviously that we went into a bit more of like theatre, because it was obvious that yeah, this is an absolute wipeout, but it was good to have like a bit of theatre that you and Henry and Mark put on. To be like, okay, let's make this actually a bit fun, you know. So yeah, it was good. It was great.
Plus, Henry fights Ambi, same as me, which was quite cool to do that sort of like Ambi show and everything. There was a part of me when I was like, I have no idea what Morrigan could do with that staff. I don't want to get hit by it.
It turned out nothing. Like, she doesn't have any. You know, I mean, it would have been cool if she'd like saved the mass weakness for you. You know, it would have been a power move to be like, right, I want to face you and your allies. You know, in their most vulnerable state, and she just mass weaknessed all of us, including you, and then you fought. That would have been really cool. But obviously it would have been.
But I'm glad you didn't do that.
Well, it's funny because, like, in retrospect, you're like, oh, they could have done this. It would have been cool thematically to do that. But then, obviously, you know, if she'd fired it off, like, and then lost us the tournament, then it wouldn't have been fun at all. So.
Plus, like, what I was doing there, it was meant to be like a show of what our enemies going to face. So if I had chosen people to fight and do these really important things, and then they like turned on us in that way, that was showing that I wasn't capable of pulling people together and have
I
that loyalty and going through it. So it
totally
was like,
totally agree. Yeah, I totally
but
agree.
yeah, we were able to do that. Out of the Glory Square and everything. Arjan attached my my banner to me, and we had lots of wonderful role play.
So you obviously won the Night Protector last year as well as a player, not a different character.
Yeah.
Like thematically, it was quite interesting because like Aranel won it in a very different way to the way Nymeria won it. Aranel, it was all very like inspiring, and you know, you did win. We had a little bit more of a fight with Aranel, but it was just like very wholesome at the end, and just like you know, we're all kneeling down. With Nymeria won it, it was like you did it in a very Nymeria way. It was just like, no, I'm going to gather all and I'm just going to crush you. I'm going to crush like like a bug under my boot. You know, it's like, of course I'm Night Protector. Like that was the like Aranel was almost like shocked that she'd won it. You know, but you were just like, no, yeah, of course I won it, type thing. Um, Out of character, there's like I want to ask how you like I want you to kind of ask you on the podcast like how you felt about uh going for the same position
Okay.
as a different character because I know this basically I know being your husband that this was a point of quite a lot of anxiety for you going for this role.
So yeah, one of my favorite things as Aranel was being Night Protector. I just loved it so much. It was so much fun, and it was terrifying at times, but it was just so much fun being able to go out to do these skirmishes and everything, and it just felt so right. And I wanted to hold it for a year and then pass it over to someone. I really wanted to make this big thing. um it's dying just couple of seasons short of that was definitely rubbish, and it was something that just feels very much like unfinished, uncompleted. Creating this new character, I was like, I still want that. I want to be Night Protector. That's what I wanted to do. There were so many like things that just weren't finished there, and I wasn't going to go for it because I was worried about what people were going to say out of character. I was worried that people were going to be like, oh, like she's already had it as that character. She shouldn't be going for it again, or she just made the same character again. And I was so worried about it. And it actually took a few friends, especially a few friends in our groups, that basically turned around. It was like, no, like we all go there to play pretend, to escape real life, to live in this fantasy world and do what it is that we love to do. So why shouldn't you go for it again? This event, that was really cleared up for me because so many people supported me. And I feel like if that was a huge issue out of character, all those people wouldn't have actually supported me. They would have gone for someone else. But that didn't happen. So I definitely feel a lot better about it now. I think there probably will still be grumbles and things, but I think that's just human nature and that's what happens. But
Yeah,
I do feel a bit better about it now.
yeah. I mean, you know, people are going to have their opinions, but I mean, I definitely, yeah, I could tell, like knowing you had like a little bit of imposter syndrome when you won it for the second time. I could tell you were like in a little bit of an autopilot because we were almost. It was shocking how much support you had, you know, and that is obviously mirrored onto out of character as well. Like you said, like if people out of character thought, you know, she's already had the, you know, had the title before and it's just the same
Yeah.
character. I know even when you made Nymeria, we were looking at different things and even because this again has been like half a year more, like 9 months in the making. Because as soon as Aranel died, you were just like, I want to be Night Protector. Like to be a Night Protector was like my favorite thing ever, you know. And you were really
Yeah.
enjoying it as Aranel, and you wanted Aranel. I know you missed Aranel, and you probably still do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you really miss Aranel, but again, a part of Aranel was being Night Protector, so you kind of went, oh no, I just want to go back into that because that's what I enjoyed. And I know a few of us, yeah, like you said, a lot of people in the group were just like, look, if that's what you want to do, go for it. You just go for it. And I think I mean, I was a little bit surprised as well, like being like, I can't believe how much support we had from everybody. However, this isn't just like, oh, uh, some people were like, oh yeah, I'm just friends with Robin, therefore I'll support you. Like, you worked for it. Like, you actually worked for it. You put in the work. That's why you did better this time than you did last time, because you already had the experience, and you got people to fight that don't usually fight in that square. Like, you got a
Yeah.
load of people. There was like people black knighting that said I'd never fight in tournaments. There were people. There were earls of houses with no armor in there, just being like, yeah, there were nobles and senators and that don't ever go into tournaments.
Oh
But
yeah, that's
you
right.
you did the work. Like, you did the work at the player events, you did the work in autumn to do that. That's what you were working for towards, and that was the fruits of your labor. And it's the fruits of, obviously, us as a group as well. People wanted to support us as a group, you know.
Mm.
So, like, you worked for that. I will say as well, because I said this last year, and I want to make this, like, say this again when it comes to Knight Protector tournaments. Like, I was a noble all of last year with Godric and Damon. One fighter can make a big difference. Like I think
Yeah.
in autumn with Damon, I had like a woodcutter's axe, and I think I had loads of Scots mead on me. I'm a fighter. I was a heavy armor fighter with like 12 shatters or something. That can make a difference. I'd never had one person running for Knight Protector of Autumn approach me and be like, "Hey, you're a noble. Are you fighting in the tournament?" I never had anyone walk up to me as Godric, being like, "Hey, are you?" Because when I did Night Protector tournaments as Godric just for a scrap, I used to walk in and just pick the side with the least amount of people. You
Yeah.
know, that's obviously not a good thing if you've got people. People can play how they want, but what I'm pointing out is the reason that you won in the way you did is because you approached nobles and you approached houses, and you asked for support and you role played, right? If people want to win a Night Protector tournament, they should probably be speaking to you out of character and in character, because you've done it twice and you've done it very successfully. But also, it is because the role it's going to be a skirmish role, right? As
Yeah.
soon as a threat comes up, you're going to have to organize a skirmish. Uh, Organizing Night Protector in that way, that's how the tournament should run, because you've now proven that you're going to be a good Night Protector, because you get all these people on side to be like, hey, we've got this skirmish. You can organize a mass call within a few hours, and be like, hey, we got this, we got these people, got these people, got these people, and convince people that don't usually go on, come and fight to fight out of loyalty, or have done something for them. So, that is the way to do it. The reason why
Yeah.
you had so much support is because you did it correctly.
That's the thing. Like the job itself as a night protector, like you've already said, is a high threat role. And by taking on a job like that, you are kind of accepting that you might get a really bad skirmish at some point that might just take you out. And obviously, I hope that never happens. But having that sort of loyalty and trust between your own nations and also many other nations as well, like that can guarantee that success. One of my like biggest things as well when it came to like the Night Protector stuff is that I, as Nymeria, didn't just speak to the nobles of the houses, didn't just speak to the earls or the enchanters or anyone like that. I spent a lot of time speaking to the Yo folk of the houses, speaking to the seneschals, getting an idea as to the people who had the ear of the rest of the house, basically, and finding out what it was that they were actually looking for so that I could make sure I was the right person for that and everything as well. Yeah, like it was obviously like a lot of work role play wise and everything, but it was amazing because I kind of feel a bit closer to like a lot of different houses and it on that I wasn't close to before, and I feel like I've got a better understanding of what other people think. Now, ambitions are not done there though, because the Night Protector sort of thing, I've got like a big plan for like Night Protector stuff. But now that we have our 4 Night Protectors all ready to go, I've got some fun game, hopefully, to start like sharing out and doing things with. A big shout as well in that tournament. We had a lot of brand new players in that tournament, like brand new LARPers in there. So big shout out to all of them, and I can't wait to kind of like take them all out in some skirmishes, because that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Do we want to, because we've gone over time, do you want to wrap this up here, and then we'll pick up from after this, because after this we had a visit from the new throne, and we had the senator elections, and a load of stuff happened on the Saturday night, and then Sunday was obviously cut a little bit kind of short because of weather and things like that anyway, so I think this is probably a good time to wrap this up, and then we'll
100%.
Yeah, cool, excellent. Right, folks, thank you very much for stopping by. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, make sure you leave a comment down below if you were at Empire LARP or you have any questions about Empire LARP. If you saw the Knight Protects tournament, let us know. Make sure that you give us a 5-star review on an audio platform if you're listening over there. Go check out our Patreon if you want to support us in that way. Until next time, though, we love you very much, and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.